Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're here to do a CISSP exam content outline review with Larry Greenblatt, and we start with domain 2.
Yes, yes. And one of the most important parts right up front is classifying your assets. Now, typically we have information assets, but that's absolutely the focus of this, but there are other assets like just hardware devices, people. A CISSP must have a strong understanding of data and asset classification principles. Not so much a specific naming convention, oh, this should be called internal or whatever. You must understand how to develop and implement a data classification scheme that categorizes information based on not just confidentiality, the way most people do top secret, but on integrity, on availability. And people tend to call confidentiality sensitivity and availability criticality. You must know these things. Similarly, a CISSP must be well versed in the classification of other asset types. Again, that involves identifying and prioritizing the organization's physical, logical, and human assets based on their value and importance and associated risks.
Thanks, Larry. That was great. So 2.2 talks about establish information and asset handling requirements.
Yeah, CISP should be proficient in establishing information and asset handling requirements. They must be able to define and document clear policies and procedures for the proper handling, storage, transmission, and disposal of sensitive information and critical assets throughout their life cycle. This includes implementing appropriate security controls, access restrictions, and monitoring mechanism. They're going to go over that when anytime something's in play to ensure that your confidentiality, integrity, and availability of those resources.
2.3 is provision information and assets securely.
Yeah, provisioning and deprovisioning. All assets, first of all, must have a defined owner. Now, that's not property rights. That's ownership means being the person who's primarily responsible for identifying, classifying, determining access permissions, as well as other duties in the life cycle. A CISSP must be knowledgeable about the secure provisioning of information and assets. They should understand the importance of clearly defining and assigning information access ownership. They must ensure the accountability and proper management. CISSP should be skilled in creating and maintaining accurate asset inventory, so challenging, as well as establishing effective asset management processes to track, monitor, and protect these resources throughout their life cycle.
And it's like you said in class, Larry, you can't protect what you don't know. So
It should be entirely accidental. Oh, it turns out I didn't even know we had that. Yeah. Great point.
So domain 2.4 talks about managed data lifecycle, another really important topic.
Yeah, all life cycle stuff to anybody taking your CISSP, know the various life cycles. You can't just do something. So CISSPs must have a comprehensive understanding of the data life cycle and the various roles involved, including data owners, controllers, and custodians, as well as processors and users/subjects. They should be knowledgeable about the secure data collection, storage, and transmission practices, as well as the importance of maintaining accurate data inventories and understanding the data location. CSSP should be very familiar with data maintenance procedures, retention policies, and the concept of data remnants. That's the data that still remained after you thought you got rid of it, right? Finally, they must be well versed in secure data destruction methods and standards to ensure the permanent and irreversible removal of sensitive information when it's no longer needed. That's a right to be truly forgotten.
2.5 is ensure appropriate asset retention. That is end of life, end of support policy.
Yeah, but something you might not plan for, but you didn't make your computers, right? And what if, or the software, the application. So be prepared. CISSP should be well versed in ensuring appropriate asset retention. They must understand the importance of managing the assets throughout their entire life cycles. We keep hammering in, and that includes Two very related separate things. End of life is when, say, we're not going to be doing any more development for whatever Windows XP. End of support is we will continue to provide patches for up until some point, and you have to be prepared. So that includes that CISP must be able to develop and implement policies and procedures for secure decommissioning, disposal, replacement of assets to minimize the risk of data breaches and unauthorized access to sensitive information.
2.6 talks about determining data security controls and compliance requirements.
Yeah, well, CISSPs must have a solid understanding of the different data states. Right? So we have data at rest, data in transit, and data in use. Probably the hardest one to protect, by the way, and apply appropriate security controls to protect data in each state. They should be familiar with the concept of scoping and tailoring, right? So when you pick a standard, you have to make sure that that standard meets you. You know, it's got to fit my, oh, I have a waistline of whatever 128 bits. My neck size needs to be 256 bits. I have to set those things. And additionally, CISP should be skilled in selecting the appropriate security standards based on the organization's industry, regulatory requirements, and other best practices, such as NIST and the ISO and other organizations.
Continuing with 2.6, determining data security controls and compliance requirements. This is the last subtopic for
Yeah,
domain.
very important too, and they're related, but it's totally separate things. So digital rights management prevents unauthorized use and distribution of digital content. A DLP, data loss prevention, prevents leaks or whatever, people posting stuff they shouldn't. Now, CASB will help you this is a cloud access security broker, and to help you enforce security policies between the different cloud service customers and providers. And understanding these three things will go a long way on your exam. And that completes Domain 2. Thank you so much, Arpita.
Thank you, Larry.
Hope to see you guys back on Domain 3. Bye-bye.